Hello and welcome back to the workshop. We've got some work to do, but the bench is in a bit of a mess. Let's have a quick tidy up. Well, I'm passing that fit. That's the bench a little bit better. It's never going to be perfect. What we're going to do today is we're going to look at making a ham radio aerial. Now, this summer, I fancy going out, walking about in the countryside, taking a little radio with me and seeing how far we can get. I used to do this quite a bit back in the day. I had a Yaesu FT817. I've still got it. It's not here. It lives somewhere else. On my lunch break, I do a little bit of communicating. Yeah, I'll post a picture of that up. Anyway, with that in mind, I've owned the FT817 now for probably 20 years. It was one of the very early ones. So it's been with me a while. But inspired by another two YouTube channels, I've been out and bought myself a new one. Let's have a look. Okay, there we go. Right, what I've got in here, let's have a little zoom in, shall we? Ooh, there we go. This is an IC705 and Ringway Manchester and Andy Kirkby. I was impressed with theirs quite a lot, so I've bought myself one. I need a super bit of kit. Got a lot of menu functions. It's got a nice big display on it. It's something the FT817 hasn't, and it's in this different form factor. And a friend of mine printed me a little sort of protective cage for it, and it just snugly fits into this fake Pelly case. So there it is, the ICOM 705. So when we go out and about, we're going to need an aerial for it, and I want to work the shortwave bands, possibly 40 meters, certainly 20, and up, and see what we get. Now, a lot of people have been working, you see a lot of people on the internet, I should say, working with end-fed half-wave antennas. And what that is a piece of wire, half a wavelength long, so on 20 meters, it's 10 meters long. 40 meters, it's 20 meters long. Now, we can do that quite easily, but they feed it at the one end. Now, normally with a half wave antenna, you have two separate sections, you feed it in the middle, but these you feed it at the end. Now that end point, this little piggy over here, it's got quite a high impedance, so we need to transform the 50 ohms of our radio into about 2.5K for the end fed point on our half wave. And what they use is a 49:1 transformer, which is generally wound on a toroid. And I have some toroids here, and this is going to be part of the experiment because, yeah, toroids, they're quite expensive. I happen to know this is actually the right material for the job. This is a type 43 ferrite, and these things, I mean, look at it, it's not very big. That's a couple of quid. But all of this stuff, in fact, that one's a real one. I can't remember what sort of ferrite material that is. I think that might be a 43 as well. And this one's a real one. I can't remember what that is, but those I have bought for various purposes and jobs in the past. So this lot, on the other hand, this is the sort of thing you see wrapped around a mains lead. You know that bump you get in a mains lead? I'm looking to see if I've got any. Anyway, that's a sort of suppressor you get on a mains lead in a laptop, something like that. Your mains lead passes through there, but it's of unknown type. We don't know what material that is, and I've got all these others. I don't know what that is, but this lot here, these brightly coloured ones, these have come out of switch mode power supplies. That one's very light, actually. I'm going to wonder whether there's any metal in it. So these are a bit of an unknown cause. Yellow is quite encouraging because some type 43 ferrites are in fact coloured yellow. So that might be a goer. And we got the green and blue here, light green and blue. I don't know whether that'll work. That one's the light green and blue as well. We've no idea. There's a yellow and white, a plain white there, and some I haven't picked apart yet. That one looks to be green in there, as does this one. These are common mode chokes from blown up switch mode power supplies, generally out of computers. And you know, you see these things thrown away. Well, what if we can make use of some of this for nothing to make a 49:1 transformer? So what I'm not going to do is show me winding each individual transformer, because there are about 1 million videos on YouTube on how to wind a 49:1, and I shan't bore you, sorry, with another one. There are some wrong ones on there, spectacularly. Oh, the other thing we're going to need is oh, I've got some somewhere. We shall find them in a moment, but we shall need about 1,000 picofarads to connect across the input, and that improves its response at the HF side. For testing, we're going to use the Nano VNA, and I will actually connect that to the computer and use Nano VNA Saver. Very good, by the way, if you've never played with that. Bit of a pig to install on Linux, but very easy to do on Windows. We have a Windows machine, so we should do that. And what I should do is I should connect this to channel 0 to drive the transformer, and I should put 2.5K across its output, and then we'll see what the actual response of the transformer is like. Right, so first things first, what am I going to bother with? I am just going to cut that one apart and see what's in there. I think it's another green one, you know. I think it's probably the same as that. Yes, it is. So I'm going to discount that one. What's in that side, that one? That's another green one. I'm going to discount that one. This is just a bigger one. You know, this I'm going to be portable operations with a maximum power of 10 watts. So mostly it'll be chatting on the microphone. So that'll be absolutely ample for 10 watts, really, the size of that, no problem at all. You know, if we're talking 100 watts or several hundred watts, something this size or maybe that size is more the job. But for just 10 watts, that's going to be more than adequate, even for digital modes. One of the other ideas I have is making a battery powered sort of Raspberry Pi in a suitcase, and with a battery in it we can power the radio from, and take that and maybe work some FT8 or something. I don't know. It's worth considering, isn't it? But with FT8, that's a key down digital mode, so we need a slightly bigger transformer. But even so, I think this is that's ample. I think the rule of thumb is you multiply by 3. I don't think we're going to be doing that one because it's just going to be too difficult to wind, so cast that to one side. So we've got a yellow and white, a yellow, and I'm going to use a smaller one because that green and blue, and maybe that one. Although I don't know. Anyway, there are going to be at least 5 we can try. This one, which is the proper Type 43 material, FT Type 43, that's going to be our baseline. So let me get winding. So there we have it. I'm just going to zoom in a little. Oh, where are we? Over here, just the job. So these 2 windings here are the primary. So this end is ground. This end is the center conductor to our transceiver, and this is our high impedance end to the long wire. And that is in effect between there and there. So how to test this? I think we're going to connect a 2 point, well, it's 1 to 49, so it's 49 times 50, which is 2,450 ohms. So 2.5k in between there. Oh, we're out of shot. 2.5k in between those two. Put our 50 ohms in here from the Nano VNA. And we'll see what the frequency response is like. Oh, we mustn't forget to put 100 puff or so across there. But I'll tell you what, we'll have a look at it without first. So yeah. So that's our transformer wound. This is the test setup. Let me zoom in one moment. There, right. Okay, so this lead here is a bit of coax. It's connected across our primary. That's the bit that's double wound. This side is ground. The secondary comes out of here. This is a 2.4k resistor. Now, properly we need 49 times 50, which is 2450. So we're 50 ohms out at this end, but by the time we got to this end, this gives us 48.9 something ohms. So whilst it won't be a perfect return loss or SWR, it's going to be somewhere in the vicinity thereof, I'm hoping. Now, bearing in mind there's all sorts of stray capacitance going on here, so yeah, maybe it won't be perfect. Who knows? Right, next thing we've got to do, the Nano VNA has been on for a good while to sort of warm up. Don't know whether that's necessary. It's sort of a habit I've got into over the years. So yeah. So next thing we've got to do is actually calibrate it. So we have 3 connectors here. That is load, that is open, and that is short. So we just click on here. Let's zoom in, I'll show you that. If you've never seen a Nano VNA before, it's a blooming useful bit of kit. And not expensive. Which way are we going? We're going that way. Look at that, here we are. Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and calibrate that. So it's not seeing me pinky, is it? There we are. Calibrate. So first off, we're going to do the open, which is this one here with the sort of hole down the middle and no pin. It's only channel 1 I'm interested in. Sorry, channel 0, which is S11. Just screw that on there. Of course, what I'm really supposed to do here is do this on the end of the coax to calibrate out the coax, but I can't do that. So there we go. Right, that's open done. We can now connect the short. Which is this one. If you haven't got one of these, go and get yourself one. It's a brilliant little toy. Short. I think they've improved it now. It's got a bigger screen and all manner of fun on it. Okay, that's the short calibrated. And now load, which is just a 50 ohm resistor, purely resistive. Click the load button. That's it, and I'm done. So there we have it. So that is our Nano VNA calibrated. So now, let's zoom back out. Oh, lovely. I'm going to connect the item under test. Now we're sort of getting a wibbly wobbly line, which is sort of what I expected. Actually, it's 50 kilohertz to 900 megahertz at the moment. Let us now connect the VNA to the computer, and we shall have a look and see what its actual response is on a nice big screen. Right, so this is the NanoSaver VNA software. First thing we need to do is go down to here. It should auto detect your Nano VNA. Click connect to device, and yeah, we're on. So next thing we want to do is set the sweep. I'm interested in HF, so not really down at 1 megahertz. I don't suppose we'll ever run it much below 80 meters. That's a 40 meter length of wire. It's quite a long way. So yeah, I don't think we'll be doing that really. We're stopping at 29 megahertz, which is the top bit of 10 meters. Don't suppose I'm even going to get that high, but let's have a look. So we click sweep, and it populates the graphs for us. So here is, this is a Smith chart. I'd rather that was nearer the middle for 50 ohms. This is our return loss. The lower this is, the better. It's directly related to VSWR, which is what here. Now, of course, everybody bangs on about VSWR being the important thing, and yeah, it's got to be low. And don't forget, this is just the transformer into a resistive load. So this should be sort of down here, I'd have thought. So below, so we want to stay beneath sort of 2 to 1. So most of it's below 2 to 1. So that's all good. But let's see what difference that 100 picofarad capacitor makes. So here's our setup. I have here a 100 puff capacitor, which we've got to put across the input. So and what this is rated to, we're not running hundreds of watts, so I'm not going to worry too much really. Oh crumbs, this is rated to 10 kilovolts. So that'll be absolutely fine. Okay, right, let's tin that up and see if we can drop it on the input. Lovely. This is where everything pings off. I don't get it right. Right, that's soldered in place. Let's go back over to the computer and rescan and see what happens. Okay, so we've just rerun the plot with the 100 picofarad capacitor on the input, and yeah, we've flattened that HF end out a bit, but we're still getting a bit gainy. Well, what's minus 10? Because that's about 2 to 1 SWR. And the frequency, that is red marker 1, 6.305. So that's fine. We won't be working on that bit of the band at all, so that's okay. And the lowest frequency I'm really interested in is 7 megahertz. Okay, so that gives us yeah, a good starting point. Let's build another one out of one of these scrap ferrites and test that. There is lash up number 2. We're back at the computer, like I said. So that's the old transformer. Results are still there. Let's hit the sweep button, find out what this one's like. Well, okay. So yeah, we've moved quite a lot. Yeah, you see, this one is obviously happier at higher frequencies. So the sort of 2 to 1 point minus 10 dB return loss is now at 20 megahertz. So it's good at 29. I wonder if it go higher. Let's try it from 20 to 50 megahertz. There we go. So up 50, it started to come back up again, but the low point is around 43 megahertz, 44 megahertz. So yeah, actually quite good there, isn't it? But of course, this is again not taking into account the fact that we need a bit of wire on the end of it. Interesting, and we're well around 50 ohms there as well on the Smith chart. Interesting. Okay, so that was the green and blue ferrite. Just pick that back up again. Whoa. Yeah, that was the sort of green and blue ferrite. Should we try one of the chunky yellow and white ones next? Yeah, let's do that. So there's our third test transformer. This one's got some of the yellow ferrite, which could be the same as our T43, FT43, sorry. So let's click the button and see what happens. So we have swept. Oh, well, that's not very good at all, is it? I haven't hung it in mid-air though. In fact, that's so bad, I'm wondering if I just check all the connections are there. No, they appear to be. Right, let's sweep again. Oh, I changed that to 3.5 where we were before. Right, sweep. No, that's awful. Okay, I'm just going to try one quick thing here, and that is to remove the 100 puff capacitor from play quickly. Oh, I tell you what, hang on. Our lead wasn't connected. That may be why. It's a bit fiddly. It's all a bit of a lash up, isn't it, really? Perhaps I should have had some proper connectors on that. Okay, just get the load resistor back to the ground. That's better. Right, let's just push that button again and see if things improve. Right, hang on one moment. Sweep. No, it's still awful. Okay. Yeah, that really isn't very good at all. Let's just take that capacitive off, because that looks to me to be absolutely capacitive. Which, with it being a bit of a coil of wire, is a bit odd. Right, let's put that back down there again. I'm going to hang it in midair and push the button. Sweep. Good Lord, where even are we? VSWR at 29 megahertz of 70. Oh, it's just all over the place. Now that's absolutely useless. I wonder what sort of ferrite it would be good to. Let's amuse ourselves. Let's go upper limit of 1 megahertz and go down to, I don't know, 50 kilohertz. See what that looks like. Sweep. No, it's still, oh, it's thousands. Maybe it is. Perhaps it's a thing that would be better off at starting at 50 megahertz and going upwards. I don't know, stop at 100 megahertz, shall we? Oh, we're starting to get, no, it's still at 7. Yeah, I don't think that is going to make any sort of balance for us at all. Right, so that's the yellow one out. I'm not even going to bother trying the second yellow one then, because I've got a feeling that may produce similar results. Different colour yellow. Let's try this white one. Right. Right, we're back with the last transformer we're going to test. This is the white one, the 100 puffs intact. We're connected to the Nano VNA, which I have freshly recalibrated. And I should tell you why. The more observant of you may notice that I am wearing a grey jumper now. And that's because I shot this footage a few days ago. And yeah, not only did I not have any footage, I didn't have any sound from this camera or this camera, and in fact the computer as well, which can only mean one thing. I had a complete and utter brain fart and forgot to press record on any of it. So we're remaking this bit. Yep, right. Nano VNA is calibrated. It's the white transformer, the 100 puffs in place. Let's push the button. Okay, so we are connected to the VNA. First off, we're going to want to change this back. It's gone into default, so I want 3.5 megahertz to, where were we stopping? 28, 29. 29 megahertz. And yeah, let's click sweep and see what this one performs like. Oh, it's as awful as the yellow one, look. Okay, it looks to be more of an HF kind of a thing. Let's get rid of a mast. Let's get rid of that. So let's go, I don't know, 100 megahertz. Oh, hang on, that was kilohertz. Let me get that right. So where did we want to go to? From 3.5 megahertz, that's better. Sweep. And it's just as appalling. Okay, so I don't know, let's go between 100 megahertz and 200 megahertz, just for giggles, because it's not going to be of any use to us at all. Well, it's flat, but my word, it's not doing much for us up there, is it? And the Smith chart is going everywhere, but 50 ohms. What's down at this end? Where have we got 371 ohms? Yeah, it's a funny one, that one. So the white, sort of as predicted, is as bad as the yellow. So what does this tell us? Always go out and buy the right type of ferrite. There we go. We've tried to make something out of nothing, and we've got that green and blue one. And you know what? I might just try that on 28 megahertz and 50 megahertz for 6 meters and see if it's any good. So yeah, come back for part 2 of the video, and we'll put a bit of wire on the end of some of these transformers and see if we can make some QSOs. The weather's gone miserable in the UK at the moment, so it might not happen very quickly, but we will come back and do it. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers, bye. This summer, let's start again because this is shite. And you, of course, you can go now. Thank you. Look, Mum, 418 subscribers.